Up. We're live. I don't think anyone's watching, but
No.
we're gonna start.
How's it going, YouTube? We are doing another impromptu live chat because Aaron needed to grab the pistons from the Detroit and a card so he can edit. And then while we're here, let's just do a live chat. We're good to go. So.
Yep, mailing out the Pistons today, tomorrow.
Yeah.
That video did really well with the screaming Jimmy, eh? Almost makes me think we should possibly do it again.
We should. So here's the thing: we have 4 more, and everybody that said that it was a shame, and I would have bought it, and I would have paid top dollar for that engine, I offered them. I said we got 4 more, and not one person replied and said, "Okay, I'll buy one of those." So
that's the problem with selling. Anytime you're selling something like Kijiji, anything, any online sales, you get 100 people to say, "Is this available? Is this available? Don't do it." Yeah. They say, "Absolutely, it's right here. Come get it." Never hear from
my best one is like, I would have given you top dollar for that engine. I'm like, we have 4 more, and we are accepting top dollar for those too. No response. No. So if nobody buys them, I guess we'll line them up and then see which one lasts the longest.
Well, we got $1 from North Dakota. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
So let's talk about
the way to owning Detroit.
Yeah. So
talk
anyway,
about the GTO.
I want to welcome everybody that did all the new kind of viewers. We got quite a spike in destroying that engine, and it's not something that we do ever. We are about building and whatnot, and it sucks that we have 600 build videos and we have 2 destroying videos. They both did pretty good, actually. The junkyard build, if you're new, check out the junkyard build.
Oh, we have more destroying videos than that, then.
What else did we destroy?
We
destroyed a Triton.
We didn't destroy a train.
Yeah, we did.
What?
Or we destroyed a Prelude.
Oh, the Prelude. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we have 3.
There's more. We blew up a bachelor party. I think there was a Canada Day celebration with Tannerite Death.
Oh, yeah.
So just saying, things have been
Okay, so 550 build videos and roughly 50 destroying videos.
50? Whoa, what? Like 5.
5. And it's sad that the Detroit, we should have explained it better that, we did try and sell it. It was worn out. It was.
I don't think it matters how much you explain it.
No, I guess not. Anyway, it's a great video. Enjoy the video. We've got 4 more. Getting confirmation on that. We'll be pulling those out of a barge and having fun with that. And then we'll sell one of those, or we'll sell 3 of those, and we'll probably keep one and do something cool with us. Yeah.
Stefan keeps talking about different things he wants to put it into, but I still don't know that he's come up with anything.
We'll show you guys the update on the midget, and then
yeah, we'll talk about everything.
We'll go from there. But anyway. If you are a new subscriber, thanks for joining us, and we'll give you guys a kind of a shot tour on where we are in the beginning of January. We've got this year looks really good. We got a lot of cool things already lined up, and of course nothing's concrete yet, but it looks really, really cool. Actually, we're all pretty excited because there's some really big stuff happening with our sponsors and stuff that they're doing. So with Andy at the yard and VNR, really cool stuff going on that this year is probably going to be pretty epic. So, but aside from that, figured you guys would like a shop tour. We're going to start with the 67 GTO because we've been working on this for 4 years, even before the channel started. Yeah. So this one's the longest one in the shop, and I've got, I don't know, somewhere between 600 and 800 hours into it.
Just a quick, you guys shout out if how's the quality, how's the sound.
Yeah.
Just let us know how's everything doing. We can't really see. We can see your comments though, so hello guys. We see you guys.
Good things take time.
Yep.
And you said from the very beginning this one is not going to be the fastest project that we do because it's going to be done right and from the start, and it was going to be the car that you and I wanted.
Right.
And because it was one of the ones that, it wasn't generating income for you or anything like that, it goes on the back burner. Because Rich and I bought this as a project many years ago to do together. The result of me going through a breakup, I think, and Rich just happy to do a car. It worked out for the both of us.
Where did you find this car? How did you find this car?
We bought it off of my coworker's boyfriend who was going to be building it for her. And fortunately for us, we kind of scooped in and got that project, so she never got that car.
No, so here's what happened. He bought it, he tore it down, and then he started doing things. He went crazy buying parts. He bought interior tires, did
Rebuilt
stuff to
the
the
motor,
engine, yeah,
fenders, doors.
yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. Bought some Southern parts, and then got into the body, and then realized he was in way over his head. And he stopped at the perfect time. Didn't have a hoist, didn't have the right tools. He was a welder, but heavy welding and not body welding. And he managed to realize that he was in over his head, and he called us. Then you found us. All right, let's go take a look at this car. So we went and looked at it, and it took me about 3-4 minutes. I crawled underneath, and I'm like, no, I think he was at. I think we got it for about half of what he was originally asking, because I said it's not worth it. It's just too much gone. And he's like, well, I spent this much on it, that. I'm like, that's besides the point. It's just too much work. And we had a beer with him, and it's like, well, thanks for showing us the car. We appreciate it. And we left. And then the next day I called Hoogie, and I'm like, I can't stop thinking about the GTO. And I'm like,
The story is we never left. We were going out there, and you and I talked for a few seconds. It's like, it's a GTO. 67 GTO.
So then it's like, so we said no, but we had this like in our heads, and then he called up and he said, tell you what, I'll do it for this price, because I know that it's going to a good spot, and I want to see the car done. When it's done, I want to drive in it once. If it goes off somewhere else, I'll never see the car again.
Yeah.
And that was the deal. We shook hands, and then we went back with the trailer and picked her up and brought her home. But it basically, from the windshield down, is new. We've painted everything underneath. And the nice thing about waiting, when we got this car, we had 0 subscribers.
Yeah.
Since then, we've had some companies join up. So Summit gave us a 4-wheel disc brake conversion for it. So it's got 4-wheel disc all the way around now. And Holly hooked us up with a Sniper, so it's got EFI on it now.
Let's look at this. We should see this.
So there will be a full build. There's going to be a full video on the brakes and on the Sniper. I'm waiting for the sending unit and the fuel tank. We got a new fuel tank. I started sanding down that tank that we bought. It was no good. And for some reason, when we were looking at fuel tanks 3 years ago, they were $400. Like, you can buy a tank for $200 off Amazon now.
Just the way the market works.
Yeah, so it makes more sense. We got the tank. So I've done all the wiring to the engine. I cleaned all this up. So this is the engine wiring tied in with the Holly. When we go see the dash, I redid all the wiring on the dash in the living room, because my wife said I had to stay in the house for Christmas time. So just trying to watch a movie, and I'm taping up stuff and whatever. But so this engine's been dynoed on an engine dyno. We got it running, fixed all the leaks on it, and put out 340 horse.
Yeah, all these videos are on the channel,
Yeah.
so if you've never seen this, it's a good series.
430 torque, and at 2,800 RPM, it's pretty torquey.
No, that's beastie.
Yeah, so we're hoping to up that a little bit. We'll probably, I still want to put a different set of heads on it, but maybe next winter I'll just get my machinist to port and polish the heads.
Yep.
He can make them flow a lot better. And then we'll take it back to the engine dyno. But it's actually heading off to paint at the end of this week. I called the body shop.
Yeah, we finally got another painter.
Another painter. So we've gone through like 3 painters who just circumstances weren't right. It's not that I didn't want to do it. It's just the circumstances weren't right. And most of the body shops that we talked to were happy doing, the body shop was just happy doing insurance jobs, and they didn't want to do this.
Yeah.
And it's a jump from like a $10,000 paint job to like a $40,000, $50,000 paint job. It's like we just want that that $5,000, $10,000 paint job that, you know, line it up. I can get it to about 85, 90%. I just need that finishing touch, that perfect look that can see stuff that I can't before the shiny paint goes on.
And we want to drive the car. We don't want to trailer
No,
queen. We
no.
want to enjoy it and rip around a little bit.
Right. So the exhaust was supposed to show up on Saturday. Lyle got busy, or Rob from Lyle's got busy again, so he wasn't able to drop the exhaust off. But I need the exhaust for the O2 sensors for the Sniper. and we should be able to fire it up this week. The transmission,
Yeah.
I found some chunks in the transmission, not chunks, but I found some sludge stuff that I wasn't thrilled about when I took the pan off, and so we got a rebuild kit for it, all new discs and bearings and seals and whatnot, and I just wasn't able to get to it. There's a good video online how to build a Turbo 400, which is what this is, but Joe's Transmission hooked us up. He likes the channel, and he's actually a friend of Stefan's, and we were able to go to his shop and tear it down, and he is pro. Like, so I'm very excited about the videos coming out on this. We're like, bam, 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 this is what you do, this is how you place it, this is how it works, and super thrilled to get that video out. So we'll have the transmission completely rebuilt, so once I get the sending unit, I can paint the fuel tank and the transmission, then they'll be going in. We ordered a torque converter for it, but it's across the border. So when I go grab that along with some other parts, then I can put the transmission in and fire it up by the end of the week. We've got brakes, so then we can start, stop, shut it off, and we're good. So this one is coming along really nice. We're hoping to have this one done for Motorama, which is in Toronto in March, and it's the biggest indoor car show in Canada. And we're hoping to that they'll accept the car, and then you guys can come check it out in person there. So, and then we'd be open to all those. Since we made a lot of fun of YouTuber cars and SEMA, you guys can come and critique it there. So, but we're proud of this one. We're gonna do some special touches to it yet. It wasn't. We were told it was numbers matching, but it's not. So there's nothing left on it. New frame, new doors, new everything. So it's really not numbers matching anymore. So the upgrades are brakes, EFI, rims and tires. We're gonna get some new rims and tires for it.
It's a resto mod. It's halfway between
Right,
cars.
right. If you wanted to take it back, I want to find the original owner and go see him.
Yeah.
It was an Ontario car all its life, so I really want to find the original owner, and who knows, maybe he's got the 400 laying out back somewhere.
Yeah.
But it is a true 242 car, so.
Was a 400 in it?
Yeah,
Stock?
yeah, it was a 400 high output car, so that made it a little more rare. It had everything except for ram air and.
Because we had the Hearst edition as well.
Yeah.
Which makes it a little more rare too.
Yeah, so it had everything except ram air. I suspect there was ram air on at some point because somebody messed with the hood.
Yeah.
But there's no proof of that, and it doesn't have air conditioning. But that's the only option that it didn't have. So.
But yeah, the block out of it is a 69.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The engine or the car 67 blocks a 69. Yeah. So which actually was one of the better. I think they got a little more horsepower out of the 69, but it doesn't matter. You tweak it yourself and do whatever you want. So the wiring for the dash is here. So I didn't. Basically, I just laid everything out. This is the ashtray and the bulbs for your feet and everything else. I just laid it out nice. You'll see the before and after. Fuse panel, and then this ducts out to the transmission. And then all of this is nice and neat, ready to go. That goes down to the taillights, and then, for the steering wheel, I think, one of the two. I never tore it apart, so I have no idea. All new bulbs, all new, we might, this one's a little iffy. We're still deciding.
I think we're going to a new replacement dash.
Replacement dash?
Yeah, just the panel. It was rough, and it's got all its little scuffs and everything, and I've tried to paint it a few times, and no matter how many times I do it, I can't get it as good as new, so. And it's going to be one of those things, if we're driving it, it's going to be those little tiny marks that you see inside the dash that I'm going to drive.
You're not gonna see like a big scratch on the trunk lid,
Yeah.
but you will see that little imperfection on the dash the entire time.
But who looks at the speedometer often, or the tack or anything like that? Just useless things.
Yeah. So this is the C10. That was the Duramax. So the frame is actually outside, so we're working on the frame. We're chopping the frame and shortening that. So we got a 2015 Air Ride bus frame, which already had a Duramax and an Allison in it. We've had the body on the frame. Takes a long time to make the videos, and this is again a side project when in between a couple others yet. So we'll go full tilt on this when the GTO is in the paint shop, and we got the parts ordered for the Mercedes. So this will be the next big shop build. And it's going to be relatively quick, believe it or not, compared to most of our other builds. It's going to have a tow truck on it and tow truck rig that's going to be functional, and LB7, but we might be going LLY. There's an LLY in Andy's shop that he doesn't. If somebody told him that the block
Everyone's
was
asking
cracked,
about this ghost behind you.
this ghost. That's Gene Hunt there. That's a little mascot. So Gene Hunt, if you look him up, he was in a show called Ashes to Ashes, and he drove an Audi Quattro.
I think it's BBC show.
Yeah, BBC. So it's super corny and fantastic at the same time. So we took him along to the Project Car Challenge. When we get to the Audi, we'll explain more.
Yeah, watch the Audi series for
yeah,
him.
Yeah, for anybody new.
Yeah.
So this,
This is different.
yeah,
Things have
it's a
changed
little
here.
different. The midget's the same.
Rich cleaned
Everything
up.
else is different. So this is what happens when you kind of purge. This is all just stuff laying here that I got to do something with this at some point, and then I realize that no, you're not. So it's time to clean up. So what happened was I always had this area, but I didn't have it closed in. On top of here is mezzanine, and when I leveled my house in the front, basically everything upstairs is from the front house. So we got a full kitchen up there, couches, TV, but it's super dusty because we never get up there. The stairs were in the wrong spot,
Yeah, stairs are gone now.
yeah, so they went around the corner, and you had to actually go behind this little paint area. And I made it as big as I possibly could for painting stuff, but it's not big enough to paint the car. I can paint the midget in here, but that's about it. So
How big is the shop?
so the shop is 48 wide and 64 long, and it's 16 feet high. So I was originally going to go 40 by 60, and when I was in construction, my 16-foot trailer behind my regular cab long box was 40 feet long, so I couldn't open the barn doors. So I'm like, oh crap, better go 48. And I'm happy with that. This area here is only, I think it's 20 feet long, and it's only 12 feet wide, which is not enough to paint the car comfortably. It really risked like touching it, but it worked great at the time for painting small parts, like just hanging them up. I got a fan in the window, just putting it out, filters on the other end. But I think we can see ourselves, we're not gonna do full restorations like the GTO anymore, and I think we can do a lot of our own painting here. So what I'm gonna do instead is there was a wall separating the two halves and a little machining area in the back with a lathe and drill press and hydraulic press. We'll get a curtain and we'll just close the curtain when we do paint, and then we can still pull the car in straight this way. So this here is actually a giant door with it's on a winch. So this whole thing closes down.
Yeah.
And then we can drive a car straight in because the hoist was in the way. So yeah, and then once we're kind of got this area figured out, the stairs are moving over to this spot, and then we'll redo the upstairs, redo the man cave, and get you guys, show you guys that too. But
We got a question here. Thanks for the videos. Spent a few weeks sick and rewatched a ton of videos. What would it cost, ballpark, to sponsor a 4BT rebuild series? He threw $10 at us, so thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Will. But so as soon as the GTO, before the Mercedes goes onto the hoist, we've got the Tahoe build with the 4BT in it, and somebody bought the 4BT. When I put it in there, Hoogie and I actually drove to Chicago and picked that up. Another whole barn full of awesome cars. Even before, that was before the channel, wasn't it?
I think it was before.
Yeah, because that was pretty cool. There was a guy bought a warehouse for like 30 grand, and then he's like, oh, and I got another car, and every one of them a total pile of garbage.
Yeah, 20 years ago, before the rain and the moisture got them, they would have been amazing. But it was like Eldorado Cadillacs from the 60s, the big fins with them.
You could see his style. Like the first thing I think is like the 10, 68, 67, and 69 Camaros lined up in a row with like all coon prints on it and whatever. But anyway.
He had like 55 Chevys, 56 Chevys, you name it, this guy had it. Old race cars.
He, toys like bikes and pedal cars, all from like the 30s, 40s, 50s. He's like, oh, it's beautiful. And I'm like, can you give this note to your wife that when you die, she could call us. But anyway, we picked up the 4BT from there, and I was flat broke then, as I am now. So I took a chance, took the valve covers off. I did basically what I told you guys to do when you're looking for a used diesel. I put a new front main seal and rear main seal on it and threw it in the Tahoe. So when I sold it, he goes, I want the 4BT. It's going in a Diamond T. It's going in a Diamond T, and it's going in just down the road. I said, I'll sell it to you, but I'll give you a great deal, but I need you to pay just for the parts, just to rebuild it, because I want to pull the head off, take a good look at it, put a new set of rings and bearings in it, and that way I know when I give it to you that it's in good shape. So there's a 4BT build coming up in the next 2 months, and it should have been done already, but it's coming up. That one pretty straightforward. Pull the head.
So that's why we still have it. Right?
That's why we still have the Tahoe, and I think the frame is still good.
Anyone wants the Tahoe?
What's that?
If anyone wants the Tahoe, it's slightly used.
It'll be either at B&R, just the top half, or at Andy's. So probably at Andy's. That one's probably going to Andy's. So that can be kind of like, is this the place that sponsored the Boss? And then the Tahoe will be in the corner with the Boss on the windshield. Yeah, it is. So.
Are you guys getting audio and weird video stuff? Sorry about that.
Oh, crap.
Our internet here is pretty terrible.
Leaves something to be desired,
yeah, midget. So Stefan is in Cuba.
Yeah, but if you go to Cuba for 1 week, it's like $200 more to stay for 2 weeks. And then it's like $50 if you stay 3 weeks.
So we don't know if he's coming back.
And then if you stay a month, I think they pay you to stay. So.
He might stay in...
we don't know when he's coming back. so nothing's been done to the midget yet. In a while, but there is stuff going on in the background. Somebody's built the full suspension, and that's done. He just lives 3-4 hours away, and Stefan doesn't want to pay for shipping, so he's waiting for somebody that's driving by to get it to him. But you guys got to understand that Stefan doesn't actually have a job, so he doesn't actually have any money either.
I don't know what he does. I know he does stuff, and he does stuff here and there, but I really have no idea what he does.
Yeah.
For all I know, he's in Cuba, like raising a coup to take over the country or something like that.
Yeah. So if you follow him on Instagram, he's told me a couple times to let you guys know. He's on Instagram. Follow him on Instagram. See all the cool diesel swap cars in Cuba right now.
Yeah, and he's under as Blackjack the Boss.
Yeah.
So it's funny because of all the new subscribers and the people that didn't watch any other videos and they saw the Screaming Jimmy. It's like, is that Jack Black? And it's like, is that... So it's kind of the same way as my fireplace, because I knew I wasn't going to put stone on my fireplace right away, so I drew the stones on with a Sharpie, and everybody's like, is that real stone? Are you going to leave it that way? And it's the same thing with Stefan. It's like, is that Jack Black?
Yeah. Looks a lot like him.
It looks a lot like him. It's not Jack Black, but he does look like him. So shout out to Lincoln. They're helping us out. They set us up with
these.
There. We were able to give the little MIG Pack 140 away. So we have one of those. We also have a plasma cutter and a TIG as well. So we got a square wave TIG and a plasma cutter. And I still got to make a better cart for them, but there will be some more videos coming out on that equipment too. Super, like, really cool stuff.
That was a new Milwaukee light.
Yep. Yeah, we're really happy with the Milwaukee light.
What we did with it.
They work pretty good. So there's a good video coming up on on the Milwaukee stuff.
We like it for videos because we threw these little flash jackets on there. It's just diffusion, but it's nice, and because they're made for a camera flash.
They're super bright for like...
It's a super bright light, but you throw those on there, and it's a nice ambient. The throw is like, Rich is lit. He's behind the light, and he's still lit up. So that's why I like it.
And it's nice for the videos because it's not overexposed, and because it's like, okay, what looks great? The engine bay looks great, and then you stick your head in there, and it's like...
Yeah. And it's great because it's, M18 batteries, so it's, everything that's already in the shop anyway. There's nothing special.
No, that's right. So,
no special crazy expensive camera equipment in here.
We saw this at the
NPS 18.
And super, like, It's like, that's it. That's what it takes to set up. Really happy with them. So, how do you review lights other than
Throwing it around and
beating the shit out of it? So we got some good ideas with that. So those are painful videos to make, but it's like, it's a great light. It works. It's great. It's not bad on batteries, and does what it needs to do. So how can you review it? We got a good video coming up on that. Audi is nicely on our. We got lots of good stuff happening with the Audi. So I had an hour. So if you haven't followed the Audi, we took a 91 Audi out of an Andy's scrapyard and LS swapped it, put 4 turbos in the back seat.
well, LS, we say LS.
LS, it's just a 4.8, but it's in a 5.3 aluminum block. So try to keep the weight down in the front. We built it for Rob Ferretti's Project Car Challenge.
Yeah, someone did ask if we were going to the Project Car
We are
Challenge.
absolutely going again. We're in way better shape than we were last year. Thanks to the you guys watching and helping out and Patreon and all that. We actually have a budget to kind of work with. We built this car with used parts. So the brakes are used off an SRT8 Dodge. There are Brembos and they work fantastic, but they're definitely not new. The transmission was built by Advanced Automotion in Texas, so it's a built, you know, an O1E.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's able to handle 800 foot-pounds of torque. We got a twin disc McLeod on it, but the engine was actually out of a pickup truck that had a score in it. The lifters were no good. This is a Gen 4. And we bought a new water pump, but it was the cheapest water pump we could, and the back of the water pump came off while we were driving on Daytona. And we did our gauges was a little iPad thingy with just a Bluetooth thing, and it would lose communication, but it wouldn't tell you that, it would just freeze. So all we were concerned about was coolant, and it stayed at 190, perfect. It never moved, but it's because it wasn't working. So it was raining while we were on Daytona, so we didn't even know. So there was no coolant in the engine, and we did a full lap on Daytona, cooked the engine.
Yeah, we didn't know that until now after we've dynoed it.
So kind of we did. Before we went to LS, we had issues with the clutch. Benny, Mechanical Stig, helped us out with that when the skid factory when he was down with the skid factory, and he helped us out with the clutch. We got the clutch going, but we had the engine out, and we were off to LS Fest shortly after. And before I put the engine back in again was right when Cletus blew up his 7-second engine from Texas Speed. So he's like, they opened it up and they're like, we got this thing hot, and it looks like terrible. The bearings are gone. I'm like, I should take a look at mine real quick. So we flipped it over.
Which one is it? Is it that one?
No, it's this one. So yeah, we'll take a look here. You can see all the scoring that was done. You can see the crosshatch, but
yeah, this is the engine. There's no engine in the Audi. We didn't say that. Yeah.
Yeah. I had like an hour and I thought I'd pull the engine. So
yeah.
But you can see all the scoring. Like there's heavy scoring in there.
Yeah.
And all the pistons on everyone on this side was down to 90 psi, and then this one was up to 120. But even still, you can see all the scoring in there as well. This one was toast. We also spun a bearing there at Daytona. So when we brought it to LS Fest, we just did a bearing roll on it. I'm like, yeah, it'll do for now. Oil pressure was decent actually, but the crankshaft, the crank is screwed. So we were deciding on whether we should go back to aluminum block because it's about it's 90 pounds lighter than a cast block, and 90 pounds hanging out in front of the front axle is quite a bit on the Audi. And then Patrick emailed me and said, hey, I have a block that I'm not doing anything with.
Yeah, just he's just a viewer, and
yeah, so big shout out to
just
Patrick.
Sent us an email. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, take the block. I think he got it from a machine shop. It looks like it had at least honed, and I don't think it was decked. But because he gave us the block, we had it in the budget to do another engine in there. So we're gonna send this one out to just a machine shop. We'll go over, we'll build it. So we've got heads. I redid heads to it when we cooked the engine. We warped the heads. They had to take 14 thou off of the heads before it was level again. So we did that right before we went snow drifting with it.
Yeah.
So these heads have been machined quite a bit, and I don't really trust them. I might put them on another project, but we've got new heads that were ported and polished, and we're going to throw new heads on it and throw some good studs in it, because we were getting 22 psi at 4,400 RPM when Speed Academy was driving it. So I think, and when we were on the dyno, it's not, the more boost it's getting, the more power it's making. It's not a curve, it's linear. So when Matt was like, okay, we'll stop at like 6,000 RPM because it should start to peter off, then he goes, no, we'll try 6,500 or 6,800, and there's like 7,100, it's still making more power. So if we can throw more boost at it, which was why we were thinking a cast block, then we'll just throw more boost down and make more power. But we're gonna go with aluminum block because somebody gave us an aluminum block, so we're gonna go with that. So
Stephen Cox says should have poured in some engine restorer, would have fixed those cylinders and that water pump.
A little seafoam. So,
And thank you for the $10. I see that you retracted the message, so I don't know who it was. Thank you.
oh, okay. So yeah, the clutch was an issue.
So just to kind of, I guess, say, like, so when we had this on the dyno with Happel, and it made what?
I made 500 horse on a Mustang dyno.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what the torque was because we were so focused on horsepower and it was kind of a blurry day. We were hoping for more. Two of the problems was the clutch was probably slipping, and because the clutch looks like ass. And the reason I say that is my truck has a NV 4500 and a Cummins in it, and the clutch was starting to feel funny. And I made the rod adjustable on the master cylinder, and when I back it right off, my boost goes way up. I get way more power, even though it doesn't feel like the clutch is slipping. But the problem with that is it's so hard to get into gear, and it's that stupid plastic pedal that GM puts in their truck. So Eric Haverkamp is making me a steel one. That's his little side business, so we thought we'd throw him some dough and make a pedal for it. So we'll do an install on that. But that makes me think that, oh, maybe that clutch on the Audi, I'll show you guys that too. So the disc looks pretty good, but this is the intermediate plate. And
Well,
you
can't see anything.
Oh, okay.
There, that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see all the hot marks on it. It's not what it used to be, and we had to machine these to fit. We made our own. It's actually a disc. This is meant for an LS, but we actually made these hubs, or I had a machine shop make these hubs, and the one clutch actually fits inside the other clutch and grabs the splines. So what we're actually gonna do is, I think I'm gonna get the machine shop to make, he still has all the tools to make the two hubs, and I'm gonna get him to make two more, or like another pair, and then we'll send this entire clutch to McLeod and say make us another one, and then we'll probably use this one as a spare in case we shave all the splines off or who knows what. But I haven't told Aaron that, but we're probably gonna do that. Since then, Holly's also sponsored us on that car. You can see the Holly EFI in the back. She's got a full Terminator on it now. We have actual proper boost control, and the car is going to do much better with an engine that actually has some compression in it. And our biggest issue was the two guys tuning it on the engine dyno was saying that the turbos were choking it off. It's too small of a restriction in the turbos.
Yeah.
So the machine shop has the one turbo right now, just to experiment and try to port the galley between the first and the second turbo. He says he can probably improve it by 20%. There's like a lip on it, and there's a lot of meat there. He goes, you don't need that. And then we got a hold of a turbo company in Ottawa, so we're gonna go visit them. They're gonna take the turbos. They're gonna take a look at them. He was pretty into the project. He was like, so we're gonna go visit their shop in Ottawa and spend a weekend in Ottawa, and then he's going to put a bigger compressor on, or a bigger turbine wheel on, and machine the housing. That's what they do. And then
Yeah, so we're going to modify the turbos.
we're going to modify the turbos. So unfortunately, Borg & Warner did it wrong. So A did it wrong by putting the wrong engine in there. So we put the right engine in it, and the wrong transmission in it. So we put the right transmission from Audi in it, and then we put the proper turbos in it, but they weren't built right. So we're going to modify
so
the turbos.
if you guys haven't figured it out by now, this is a giant science project on our channel. That's the whole point of it. I mean, it's a complete scrapyard. What we could find, the turbos were out of a junkyard. Like everything was out of a junkyard.
Yeah, but
So that's why it's what it is specifically.
so at the Project Car Challenge, we didn't have any money.
We signed up without a car.
We signed up. We had no car. So we had a car in mind, but we had no car. And by the time we got all the pieces together to do what we did, we absolutely ran out of time. So with that being said, there's a lot of people like, oh, it's not going to work, and why bother? Just put two big turbos on.
Yeah, sure.
Put them under the hood, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, we know you can make cheap, easy power. That's not the point either.
No. So when we had it on the engine dyno, we had 540 torque at 2800 RPM. We're kind of going for that again. High torque at a low RPM, and in a reliable car that's not. We don't need 1,000 horsepower because we're just gonna snap stuff and ask Rob Dom how the 1,000 horsepower thing is working out for him. We're gonna aim for about. I would like 650, 700, and about the same in torque.
You want it to corner.
Yeah. But
It's a track car. It's not a drag car.
Right, and horsepower is heat. So we've got the rad in the back seat. We've got the intercooler in the back window there. You can see the scoop above the back window. So I think a few other things. We had the air filters going into that scoop. And another thing, when we were on the engine dyno, when we disconnected the air filters, we lost 100 horse because it just can't breathe. And that's with the doors and windows open in the back seat. And we're like, okay, well, if it's taking that much air, that's not going over the rad. So we're going to turn them around and come out the side windows. And that's that much air that can go over the rad. So we can probably drop the scoop down quite a bit, and then increase our aero in that at the same time. And that's all stuff that we learned and we can go on and it's like, okay, we're gonna take it out, we're gonna see what happens, and then, okay, what if we change this and what if we change that? So it's fun experimenting, and you guys gotta understand that, yes, it's a race car, but it's also a 50% marketing thing, and it's been working really well. It stands out like a sore thumb. It's cool. Parked beside McLarens and Lamborghinis, and people are walking up to us and going, "That is so awesome!" And the guy with his bright green Lamborghini's like, "But I spent like $250,000 on this thing. Why are you looking at my car?"
What you guys said earlier, the Hot Wheels Challenge.
The Hot Wheels challenge.
It was a 164.
See that be turned into a Hot Wheels. We got some questions.
Okay.
Let's see. Thank you for the $10, Logan. He says you should build a 3/4 ton Suburban with a 5.9. Yeah. So.
We were close. It was a half ton. It was at Andy's, and it was a half ton Suburban.
Oh yeah.
And we're like,
There's plenty of carbs and
Vehicles are just falling out of the sky right now.
actually, there's some stuff that we
There's a
just
lot
like we
of
want to
stuff.
tell you, but we can't.
Someone else said IDI. They want to see an IDI.
So IDI is coming up, and we'll do some more power stroke stuff too.
Yeah, nothing more interesting than seeing Rich work on Fords.
Yeah. And actually, there's some good stuff coming up. You're gonna stick out. Actually, next week we'll be in Santa Ana, California. So,
Yeah.
if any of you guys are down there, we are at the airport, Santa Ana, and we'll be going to Riverside, is it? I think it's Riverside.
I don't know.
It's like 40 minutes away. But anyway, we'll do a get together there on one of the nights.
Yeah, if you got a cool ride, bring it.
Yeah, we'd love
make
to
a
see
video.
everybody's rides. There's a couple of them coming up. There's a guy that had a Dodge with Neat and Fuller in it, so that's going to be on the channel. So, but yeah, we are in Santa Ana, California next week. What other questions?
I don't know. You guys have questions?
There was an
Taking
IDI in the
questions.
driveway this morning, and we were going to make a video on it, but he's got so much cool stuff that we're going to go check out his place.
Oh, okay.
And then do the IDI at the same time while we're there. But Andy's got an IDI in the yard, and we'll do an everything wrong with an IDI in there, and then we'll get our hands dirty into a 7.3 power stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone was asking about the Perkins.
Perkins is all together. It's all done. It's back together. But I've been lazy. No, I've been pushing. I haven't been lazy. It's like
It's back together, see?
The farmer. I've had the tractor.
What else is there to do? Just drive it. Send it.
I'm gonna fire it up and get it hot. Retorque the head. And we had a nice little. The problem with the Perkins is it's got this massive fuel tank on top. So everything's hooked up, but I need to drive it down the road and get it hot and then pull the tank off and retorque the head. So pull the valve cover, pull the rockers off and retorque the head. That's part of what Perkins wants you to do. And when we were at the old shop, we had a nice cute little fuel tank, just big enough that had the right lines in it, return line in it, and you could just throw the tank on, drive it, and not worry about this tank. But we didn't have that. I got to put this tank back on it again. I just need to drive it down the road and get done, but the GTO needs to go off the paint, and the farmer hasn't bugged me or he hasn't called me or he's really mad at me because it's taking too long, but it's just a spare tractor. So it does have all new rad hoses. The rad's been done.
Yeah, all this is coming up.
Yeah, so this will be the next video, but there's going to be some GTO stuff in between. We got a nice new solid brake line oil pressure gauge.
Look at this, custom.
Yeah, so that will never ever happen again. This will never ever snap off. The rest of the tractor will be long gone before this disappears. So we've got that issue taken care of.
Sorted.
If you haven't followed this, it was a little oil pressure line to the pressure gauge that broke and ran out of oil.
All right, cool. So thank you. Where is he? Rich. Roscoe. Thank you, man. Loves the Audi. $10.
Nice.
Haynes and $10. 5.9 is sweet, but I'd like to see an 8.36 CTA Cummins in a 1-ton.
So if you go on our Instagram, and one of my other customers that I built the Crew Cab Dodge for, the Crew Cab 85, he bought a 1-ton fire truck, and I told him I'll put an 8.3 in that one for you. So he's deciding on that, but that is also, again, finances and time.
Yeah.
But it's funny that you guys have been talking about all this stuff, and it actually has been in the works already. So the Mercedes is under here. It never actually left. I was playing with HP tuners for a bunch, and I could not figure out the HP tuners. This one has an LS1 in it with a turbo, and there's a few things. This was my first gas swap, my first stab at LS, and there was nothing for these cars. I built every piece for this car: engine mounts for the hydraulic pump to do the hydraulic shocks, the AC compressor. All of that is Mercedes stuck on the LS, and I made every piece for it. And in the process, also made some mistakes. So I didn't want to give it back to the customer, knowing that I was going to get that phone call that he's on the highway or somewhere with issues on it. It wasn't running right, it wasn't sounding right. So as soon as we're done with the GTO, we're gonna try and hit up Holly and see if they'll help us out with proper engine management on this.
Mercedes bits.
Mercedes bits. Oh yeah.
Holly,
So we
Mercedes
tried to
bits.
sell some Mercedes bits, and that bit us in the butt. But anyway. Well, I think that's about it. Oh,
What does the tractor do, or what does the farmer do
what does the farmer do?
with the tractor?
Oh, so that farmer, I don't know what he does with the tractor. It's a spare, so it's probably just to move wagons and stuff around. He was actually my very first customer as a mechanic. Super guy. He has chickens, turkeys, and does crop farming. Also adopted about a dozen kids. One of the most, probably one of the guys that I admire the most from what struggles. He would be, I don't know, 15 years older than me. So it's nice to see where he is in his point of his life, and then learn from him and respect him for what he did at the same time. So whenever he calls, he ended up getting his own mechanic. I spent 2-3 months every winter just working at his shop. I'd pull my truck and trailer there, and I'd just work out of his shop, maintain his stuff, go over his stuff, change his oils, everything from his dirt bikes and quads up to his big tractors. He just called up and said, hey, do you want this tractor? It's just my spare. I'm not in a huge rush for it. Don't ever tell your mechanic that you're not in a huge rush for it because they take that very literally. I was like,
So
okay,
we got $5. Timmy's fun. Thank
if
you.
you need indoor storage for something, tell them you need some work done and you're not in a rush for it because you get free indoor storage at a
I said
mechanic
that
shop.
4.5 years ago.
Yeah. So the GTO 4 years, the Mercedes 2.5, 3 years, the tractor 2. I shouldn't be laughing. This is terrible, but what? And here's the thing. I have also never charged full price. I haven't like all my labor's free on the GTO. Obviously, we'll split that when we get back when we sell it. The Mercedes, I never charged full price for it, and if you did.
Yeah, it's a learning experience, right?
Right,
So
for both of us.
what do you charge for that when you've never done one?
When you swap a Cummins into a Silverado, it's very straightforward. There's an alternator bracket for it. There's a AC compressor for it.
Oh.
The starter is fine. Like everything is basically just make new mounts and make your sensors kind of work, and you can swap a Cummins. I didn't realize how much work it was going to make to shoehorn that car into there and get everything working to the level that I want it to be.
Yeah, he's been great about it too. Like as far as
so AMG swapped V8s or V12s or something into the AMGs back when these cars were new, and it was like $130,000 conversion, something like that. And I can understand why now. And that's a multiple Mercedes techs working on their own car on a brand new car. So I get it now.
yeah. So we got somebody said, Logan, thank you for the Timmy's Fund, $5.
Nice.
Stephen Cox threw us like $50, and then thanks for being open and honest about all those LS engine problems. Yeah.
Yeah. we are.
Thanks.
I don't know. What do you want me to say?
Thanks, Stephen. Hopefully we will run into you in Texas when we're
Yeah. So
hopefully that's where it is.
everybody hop on Freddie's.
Freddie, he hasn't officially said Texas, but he hinted at that at
I
us.
asked him again.
So that's why we're taking that as gospel.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I'm saying this because Lou,
Lou is in Texas.
and he's building Freddie's.
Hold on, we got another comment here.
Okay.
Thomas, thanks for the $5. He says, I work in Santa Ana and live in Riverside, so I'm turning my Saturn into a rally car. If you guys need anything, let me know. Yeah, we want to see that.
Yeah.
So send us an
We love
email.
Saturns.
Send us an
There's
email.
Saturn engine up there. It's little 2.4.
Yeah, we'll compare.
Yeah, that's going in the.
We need ideas.
So we're going to Riverside.
Yeah,
River
sweet.
Something, so we're going to Riverside. So if we can convince that guy to go out in the desert, I'd love to have a little Saturn fun in the desert. The problem is we can only be there in the dark.
Yeah, our day is gonna be insane.
Yeah, our 3 days there, and we've got meetings from 9 till 6 at night.
Okay, a couple people have been asking about the R28 because we've been hinting at that.
Okay, so we've been talking to Cummins and we've thrown some ideas at them, and they weren't super thrilled about our ideas.
Well, I mean, they're not. It's not that they're not as excited as we thought they might be.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's happening, but we're actually going to do a couple. It'll be something that you've never seen before and thought of. And
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, and
Lots of crazy stuff coming up with that, but that's later this year.
that's still a couple months away, so.
Don't stay up waiting for that.
So we were in a rush to get the 2.8 because the incentives.
Yeah, they had some incentives in 2018
Yeah,
that ended.
That ended on New Year's, but
Yeah.
we've been talking to Cummins, and they're not going to give us an engine, but they'll help us out a little bit. But we can do that till those incentives are for whenever we want to pick up the engine. So right now we are not going to get caught in trouble again with the Audi. So we're going to spend a little bit of money on the Audi just to have it ready in time for project car, and then we will be doing the 2.8, but a little different too. So
Some people are saying, yeah, this is expensive. Yes, we know. We also know about the China one. We know. we know.
okay, good.
Someone said you need a toy hauler project. Yes, we agree.
all these things, yeah. My wife is
It's like someone knows why we're going to California.
So my wife's been bugging us that we need a crew cab. And I don't want to get rid of my truck. I love my truck.
Yeah.
But I think
This is like
new DeBoss garage truck.
Yeah.
So we're on the lookout. So anyway.
Someone said ramp truck. Well, that's what Stefan said. But
That's what he said with the C10. But again,
Yeah.
the C10 is still a regular cab. So
Yeah.
if Stefan, Aaron, and me, where did we drive? All three of us in the truck. It was not that much
Oh
fun.
man, no. We drove to the Holly LS Fest.
I was laughing.
We were
Yeah.
at LS Fest, yeah.
Yeah.
All three of us in Rich's regular cab.
Yeah, that's a 10-hour trip in a regular cab with a stick shift.
Yeah,
So,
so we
one
know we
guy
need
in the
a-
middle, like shift.
Stephen Cox says, I love how all the ideas people come up with for you to spend money on.
I know, it's so simple. I was talking to a guy at church, and he's like, "Oh, you should do this." I'm like, you should, that one sentence is like $10,000.
Oh yeah, all those ideas for the
Great idea.
all the ideas for the Detroit is like, wow, like nothing anyone suggested was under like 50 grand. It's like, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
Who's
Okay,
paying
first
for
I
it?
need to buy a new forklift that can actually lift the thing up. So we
Yeah,
can actually
that's
put
something.
It into something.
Yeah,
But
just to work on it. Right?
yeah. Yeah. What else? You want to have a seat? Is there any questions you guys want? That's what it for the shop.
Let's take a look at maybe the shop because we promised shop tour and we haven't really.
I did a shop.
Well, we talked about back here. This is the mezzanine. I don't think we'll go up there today.
No, because I took.
Well,
the
we
stairs
can't.
out.
We took the stairs out.
But it's not. So it's all glass. You can see the couches and there's a TV there, but it's also very dirty. It's all barn board up there.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want the shop kind of atmosphere on there. And if I did the shop again, I'd probably do barn board on the inside. I went with the plastic and the steel, only because fire hazard. So I was doing a lot more welding and stuff like that when I was doing the dozers and excavators and stuff. And also, at some point, I could see like a hydraulic line bursting or me doing a relief valve wrong and just shooting oil on one side. And if you hit barn board, it just leaves a giant, massive stain on it. Whereas with this, you can actually wash it off. So the white is actually a plastic and the red is the steel. And then I messed up on, I went on vacation, and the gray steel on the bottom half. So the red is actually 2x8 that goes all the way around the whole shot, and the wiring and the air lines are behind the walls because I didn't want to see a bunch of piping. So underneath is light gray steel, and I did a barn in light gray one time, and I went on vacation, and the guys that were working for me, they didn't put anything on top of the steel, and it got windy, and the steel was just rolling down the field. So that cost a couple $1,000, but I cut up all the steel and used it on the bottom of the shop just for a little bit of contrast, so it's not all one color.
Last
There's-
night I went and looked at a house that had the in-ground heating,
Yep.
the hot water heating, and
Yep.
I thought, wow, why doesn't Rich turn his up?
So the shop,
It'd be great. They had it like 81 degrees. It felt great.
it does, and then it doesn't. Like, when I'm at the house, so we keep so I built the house a shop, but we have geothermal heat. So the entire shop has in-floor heating, and I don't know if you can see it. The entire shop is in-floor heating, and the house has in-floor heating, but if you turn it up too hot, like it's kind of chilly in here right now because it's only about 11, 12 degrees Celsius.
Yep.
If you if you look at
Oh,
the
you can see here.
yeah, oh, hold on.
I can see better like this, actually.
Yeah.
No, I can't see now.
No, let me see. So you can see the lines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Can you see the lines?
Yeah.
So those are all hot water running through the floor, and that's how we like to keep everything nice and warm and toasty in Canada. But if you turn it up too hot, it is not comfortable. Like
pretty good.
your feet are on fire.
It felt great.
No, it like I get really upset when we get an air bubble. Once a year we get an air bubble in the house and the floor stops working, and you climb off the stairs in the morning. You're like, This is bullshit. I should have heated floors. But when it's too hot, it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
Like it's to the point where like you gotta put your feet up all the time because it's
All
just
these
too
guys from Australia are commenting right now. It's pretty funny. Good day from Australia. It's 41 degrees Celsius over here.
Yeah, screw you guys. So I wish. What time is it in Australia?
Yeah,
right
what
now?
time is
It's
it?
your
That's what
morning,
I was
right?
wondering. That's funny. Stephen
to
Cox. Stephen Cox asked about what scan tools you use.
So I had a Snap-on Veris, and that worked for a long time until it just bit the bullet. So I was trying out a Snap-on. What was the new one? I only tried it for a couple weeks. But
Oh yeah, they dropped one off.
yeah, they dropped one off just to try, but I didn't want to bite on it. And then we're trying out some Bosch stuff right now. So, but that's we had OTC.
Well, you had the C reader. You like those ones.
Yeah, that's like little
Yeah,
baby
those.
stuff
Yeah.
before the snap-on. Yeah, that you couldn't tell injector balance rates or anything
Right.
like that, or airbags or anything. Those were perfect for homeowner.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's we had OTC at the other shop. The what was it? Started with an E.
TDI Ranger. That would be cool.
Yeah, TDI Willys. We would do Stefan's Willys before we did the Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, the heated floor is nice because it gets heat evenly throughout the whole shop. And also, like, it's in 2 different zones too, so that's that pipe hanging on the wall is actually my second zone on this side of the shop. So you can turn that side of the shop warmer than this side, but I like to keep it about 10 because when you're working and you crack something loose or you got to lift something, you sweat instantly when it's heated floors. So.
Yeah.
So, did you put an offer on the heated floor?
No. Hydro bills go to the
So that's the difference. So we run hot water through the floor, and I can tell at whatever temperature I want the water to flow through.
Yeah.
With electric, it's either on or off, and the electric is super hot, and it's what sucks is you'll burn certain sections out, and then you'll have like a cold spot in one section of the floor, and then you'll have burning hot on the other side.
Someone asked, what is it in Fahrenheit right here, right now?
You guys have Google. I don't. 12 degrees Celsius converted to Fahrenheit. Just open up a new window.
Yeah.
Tab. If you're on your computer, it's the tab right up here, and then just type what is 12 degrees Celsius converted to Fahrenheit. That's like 50 or something. 50 or
Yeah.
60.
It's cold.
It's cool in here, but I like it to work. So the issue with the heated floor is that you can't just tell it I want it 5 degrees hotter or 10 degrees hotter. So we played poker up there every Wednesday, and I had to put a little extra heater up there just for the guys on Wednesday nights when we played poker. Yeah. So yeah. Oh yeah, and those are 2 24 valve.
I've been hiding these from
Yeah, P-pump 24 valve coming. So that one I just got the head back.
Oh, cool.
And we'll be building
Sweet.
another one, so yeah.
I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah, so that one, the block is in good shape. The front cover's all done on it. I was just waiting for the head, and I have to grab the injectors for it. So we've got some 24 valve P-pump stuff coming up too, and that's going to be some pretty epic videos too. So
Yes, very epic.
yeah, it's got snakes, it's got comedians, it's got Woody from Toy Story. It's awesome. It's just wonderful. It's going to be fantastic. And yeah, any other questions?
Let's see here. I know someone a while ago was asking about the Pistons, and
Pistons on the Detroit?
yeah, they wanted to see how big it is.
Okay, I will be right back. They're all outside. Okay.
So what's better than a GTO?
What's this? Oh. As far as
Name a wrecking yard that you like, that you would grab some cars from.
oh yeah, so Cars and Parts just
Not their names.
Okay, sorry. There's a place with Cars and Parts not too far from here that I would love to go walk through, and I don't know, they got some pretty cool stuff that we saw from the pictures and everything, so hopefully at some point we'll be able to walk through.
What did you see though? You gotta name some of the cars over there.
The ones that I got, the cars that I get excited about aren't the cars that everybody gets excited about, because I like some stuff that's pretty crappy. I saw one of the AMC wagons, the original crossover, which I thought was pretty cool. I remember my parents having those when I was a kid, and we grew up 3.5 hours north of here, so when we got snow, we got like 3.5 feet of snow. It was pretty good at plugging away through that and everything. I know there was a Westphalia van that I was pretty excited about.
I got Kitty here. Kitty showed up.
Yeah, the kitty.
And no, she's not covered in oil. That's not oil. Yes, we had orange cats before. This one was their mom, if you haven't watched that video. That's why she looks like this. It's not because she's covered in oil. It's not because Rich has been petting her.
That used to be a white cat.
How is the toolbox working? Do you like it?
Not really. You can see I'm still kind of working on that.
Still working out of this one. Working out of both, really.
It was a good idea at the time, but I can't seem to get used to it, and it's just not big enough for my liking. So I think I'm probably gonna move on to another one. I think it's perfect for a homeowner, and I think if that was your first box, you wouldn't find anything wrong with it. I'm just having a hard time going from a much bigger box to a smaller box. It's not working for me, so I'll probably end up looking for another bigger box. So, but anyway, these pistons are out of a 5.9, and these are the pistons out of the Detroit. So size to size, they're about the same bore actually, which is they're exact same bore. And the stroke on the Detroit is much smaller than the stroke on the
Cummins.
On the Cummins. So the Cummins is actually an overbore, so the stroke is longer than the bore. So the stroke it's a 4-inch piston, but the stroke is 4 and a bit. Whereas the Detroit, the stroke is only about that much. But yeah, check out the video on the teardown, and we get into the pistons there. But that's somebody's piston that we'll be mailing out tomorrow. So.
Yep, they are all spoken for, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that one.
We didn't realize how quickly those would go. It's like, what, 2 hours? And they're all sold?
We put a $20 price on it just to kind of cover the time of taking it out and kind of wrapping them up and throwing them in the mail and pissing off the mail ladies because it's dripping oil and horsepower. but yeah.
Could the Cummins pistons be used as a lightweight upgrade for the Detroit?
No.
Probably not.
Okay, watch the teardown video.
Yeah.
Now you're getting into. Can I use the inside guts of a 4L80 in a 1930s Packard? No, you can't.
Someone asked what was it injectors we're using in the 24 valve P pump.
So they are they are injectors that are detuned. The VP pump pops at 310 bar, I think, and the P pump pops at 250 bar. So we had to get the injectors springs backed off. There was a company that does it. It was actually cheaper for me to buy new injectors with a 250 bar than it was to send these injectors out and just get somebody to replace the tips and drop the pressure. So that's the route we went. So the injectors, I'd love to show them to you, but they're still across the border.
Stephen Cox asked, what is your perfect diesel engine setup? 12 valve, 24 valve Cummins, P pump rail, Allison trans, and what truck? I'm thinking of Cummins swapping my 01 Power Stroke instead of rebuilding the 7.3.
So you don't like the okay? I gotta ask you a question. What's wrong with the 7.3? I just started watching that series of you guys wanting to redo that 7.3, and you don't like the 7.3. It's a comment that, but I think my perfect truck would still be a 24 valve P pump with an NB 4500 in my regular cab long box, just the way I have it. So I'm that lucky guy that is super happy with his truck and don't really want anything else. My wife is really pushing to get a crew cab, and I don't. I just like my truck. We'll get a crew cab, but I'm still going to keep my truck. Unfortunately, my truck is not in good enough shape to sell to anybody. It's rotten. It needs the rockers done. I should have did that when we did the cab corners. The box is getting really rough, so I have somebody in Tennessee looking for a box. If anybody knows of a good long box, white, 99 to 07 classic box, I'd be interested in that. But I can't sell it to anybody as is with a good mind. But I'm happy with the 12 valve that's in it. But then I did do the injectors in the Duramax, and then he put his tune on it. It's pretty impressive. So I can't wait to get going on the C10. Actually, just gotta get those. I'm pretty sure Hoogie would murder me in my sleep if I got on the C10 and the GTO still wasn't done. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be able to drive it, start.
Yeah, winter's over before you know it, and it actually hasn't even got here yet. So it's cold outside, but there's still no snow.
Yeah.
So today was gorgeous. I didn't even pull the Detroit back in again to pull the pistons. The sun was shining. It took a couple hours, but
I'm glad you got to enjoy it. I got to enjoy the fluorescent lighting of the government.
What about 24 valve common rail?
yeah, much better. But you got electronic injectors again that at some point are going to let you down. Nothing like a mechanical engine that during the apocalypse you could run on vegetable oil and whatever and still keep running type of thing. So, but common rail is it's much better. Go obviously pre-emissions, but
Someone asked if you ever thought about biodiesel.
I did. I have a biodiesel processor, and it's in the greenhouse. Did quite a bit of research on it. I didn't pay too much for the processor. The biggest thing with that is you have to get it up to 76 degrees Celsius, somewhere around there. So I thought my neighbor had a greenhouse, he wanted to get rid of it, so I fixed up this greenhouse. I was going to put the biodiesel processor in there. Fuel was like $1.40 a liter. And then I needed some methanol to complete the process. I needed some hydro out there, and I call it hydro because we get our electricity from Niagara Falls from water. So it's hydro. It's actually called Holloman Hydro that we get our electricity from. It's our electricity.
Yeah.
I had to run the panel net out there, and then fuel dropped down to close to $1 again. So it doesn't make sense to do it if it's not up above like $1.20 a liter. Then it doesn't. The time it takes to make it and whatever else, it's not worth it anymore. But I actually have a biodiesel processor. Maybe when we're full-time YouTube and we've got we're hurting for content, we'll make some of our own diesel, and then grab one of those Detroits that nobody bought, and then blow it up on biodiesel.
Yeah, have the whole place smell like French fries.
Yeah, much better than the burning oil that was Tuesday. So.
Ever considered owning a Toyota? A few people have asked about Toyotas.
Yeah, actually went to Burkina Faso and worked there. Taught mechanics there in Africa, and they had all the old little Toyota Hiluxes, and fantastic trucks. Rebuilt a couple of them over in Africa. Clutch and wiring and whatever else, tore one engine down, and then shipped parts over afterwards. Hopefully they did it right. It's just those Toyotas over there are different than what we have over here. And when I was there, Buddy's like, what should we put in a shipping container and ship over here? I'm like, oh, hey, do you want to send our North American garbage to Africa? I'm like, I want to take that truck and that SUV and take it home. And I would drive that forever. Land Rovers and
Runners, all those.
yeah, and just beautiful. So nothing wrong with Toyotas. I don't know any of the newer stuff. None of my buddies drive Toyotas. We all have, most of them are F-150s.
I'd drive a Toyota. Hands down, I would.
Yeah.
Stephen Cox responded, 6.3s or 7.3s are okay at best. They get terrible fuel mileage compared to Cummins, and horsepower is more expensive. I don't like the Huey injector setups or the injector driver FICMs.
Yeah.
Just too much stuff to fail, and there's a ton more room in the engine compartment with a Cummins. I've always been a Cummins fan and not a Ford fan at all.
That's funny.
Well, there you go.
I figured it was going to be something like that. But I almost need to find out for myself because the Ford guys are so adamant that their
They must be
73 is
onto
perfect.
something,
They
right?
must be onto something because Steve, you're doing something wrong, man. Because these Ford guys are just like
How's all these Ford guys getting millions of miles out of their
and
Power
getting like
Strokes?
25 miles to the gallon, and,
Yeah.
and it always starts no matter how
The
cold
amazing
it is.
6 liters.
Yeah, yeah.
They're just so great.
Yeah. Well, there's nobody that denies that. You can tell them that when you're getting into 6.0s and 6.4s, explaining how awesome they are, like the grammar and the punctuation and the
Follow
spelling, it's like the exact opposite of awesome. It's like one long sentence. You don't know what you're doing, and that's the best truck I've ever owned, and I've never bulletproof. And I could pull my mother's house down the road and I didn't even have to stop. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's no million mile club.
So I said there's a 6.4 out there apparently that somebody got 1 million miles out of, but I'm pretty sure Bigfoot's driving it. So I keep asking the people. I was like, "Oh, my buddy swapped Power Stroke into his GM." I'm like, "Awesome! That's incredible! Send me some pictures. I want to see it."
Oh, Steven said, my main motivation for doing the 7.3 rebuild is YouTube views. There's more videos with over 1 million views than any other diesel engine. Oh,
Sell
interesting.
out. That's terrible. Why would you do it just for views? That's terrible, Steven. Do what you want. Don't do it for views.
Yeah, maybe we'll,
I think, yeah, that's good.
yeah. Let's see, what's other...
So ask Steven, is he coming down anytime soon? I guess
Yeah,
we'll see him in
are you
Texas,
coming up
right?
here or are we coming down there? What's going on? Yeah, so how thick is the concrete in the shop?
So here's the deal with concrete. It is 3,200 square feet, and I had a lot of buddies that owed me favors who dabbled in concrete, but aren't concrete workers. And so I'm sure that there's a low spot over there, so I'm sure it's about 4 inches there, but it's probably about 6 inches there. So overall, I went with steel mesh throughout the whole thing. That's what you tie your plastic PEX lines to. And then I am at least 5 inches thick, so probably more than that. The only way you can really know how thick you are is if you take your square footage and divide that by how much concrete you were built for. So people will tell you I've got 4 inches and 6 inches, or I've got 3 inches. And if you ever get a shop floor poured, you make sure you get every receipt from every truck that pulled in the driveway. And when they say I'm pouring you a 5-inch floor, you do the calculation and make sure that you have enough trucks to pull in the driveway to spread 5 inches over your floor, because it's not a lot of people. There's two kinds of people that go overkill. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna park my 1-ton truck there, and I need 7 inches to hold that truck. You don't. You can get away with 4 inches. I've had bulldozers and full excavators and whatnot in here, and it's never cracked. I chipped the edge once because I pulled in wrong with one of the excavators. Rebar by the doors, and then 6 by 6 inch mesh all the way throughout, overlapping at the seams a foot. But I would say on average I'm probably 5 to 6 inches.
Steven said, absolutely, I'll let you know in a few months. I wanted to go up there so bad last year, but I had too many financial obligations to take care of. I think this year is going to be a lot better.
Nice. Yeah,
Cool.
I know the feeling. So.
Someone had a good question. How did you come up with the name DEBOSS Garage?
Okay. So, contrary to what some people think, is that my last name is not DeBoss. Actually, I had customers that knew me for 6-7 years that wrote checks Rich DeBoss. That's not my last name. But my last name is, I had my mom got remarried, and I took the last name of my stepdad, who I see as my dad. He's the one that raised me, and I took the name of my biological dad, kind of put the two together, and came up with DEBOSS. So, and if you put the two together, de in Dutch is the, and bos is forest. So when I was in construction, it translated to the forest construction, which makes sense. It's a cool name because it's DEBOSS. In Canada, it's just, yeah, you're the boss, and that's basically the story of that.
Yeah, and then when I met Rich, it was DeBoss Mechanical.
And that is actually my company name.
Yeah, and when I was looking into figuring out what we should call the channel, like that was, change it to garage. We ended up with that. Also looking at what DEBOSS means is the opposite of emboss. So if you're looking at, any tools and stuff, they have like the words are debossed into the tool. So just kind of meant like make your mark. I kind of saw it as sort of kind of a fun play on that, and
we'll be
taking your own,
incorporating that,
when we're building our projects, we know better than manufacturers. I mean, whether you would admit that or not, like you're kind of saying that with modifying any vehicle.
We'll let Borg Warner know that they can build their turbines this way.
So yeah. So it has kind of a triple or a four meaning.
Yeah.
It's kind of a crazy. Let's see. Yeah. Well, we're probably gonna get going soon.
We still have to package up 14.
All these pistons we gotta ship.
And they're all pretty cold because they're all outside. So.
Yeah. So thanks for hanging out, guys.
Yep.
If you haven't checked out our new merch, you can probably see it underneath this video. We've been pretty busy revamping all of our merch and switching over to Teespring, which has the YouTube feature. And so yeah, check it out. Got some cool stuff coming up too with some of that. And there's the elusive DEBOSS Garage sticker, which found its way onto the merch store, and people have been buying that more than anything.
What
And
you guys don't know is I hate stickers. You see, there's no stickers around anywhere. Like I see Hoonigan with like stickers all over their toolbox. I'm just like, oh, it's giving me anxiety. It's too many stickers. And then Matt Carrington and Shifted Interest at the open house put their stickers on my truck. I'm like, oh, why are you putting stickers on my truck? I hate stickers. I like it clean, like the DEBOSS Garage on the bottom, DEBOSS on the windshield. That's it.
But people have been asking us for stickers forever,
Yeah, so Aaron made some stickers.
made that one. But I have no idea what it looks like. As far as I don't know if these are die cut or not, and I imagine they might not be. So
Aaron,
we've ordered one to see.
yeah, and then
So that's why I didn't say anything about it or make any videos talking about it, because we haven't got any of this stuff ourselves. But it's all made to order stuff. So no, I don't think there's tariffs on the merch. It's all made to order, and I think Teespring is in the U.S. primarily and in Canada. So I think stuff ships pretty locally. As far as I know, Spreadshirt worked that way. I don't know if Teespring does, but they have pricing based on U.S. and Canada and Europe. So I imagine they have a presence everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, cool guys.
All right.
Thanks so
Thanks
much.
for watching, guys. GTO stuff coming up all week, actually. Yeah.
Right.
Transmission, brakes, sniper, running,
Starting it
starting it, stopping it, moving it,
backwards.
and a little bit on body lines, and then off to the paint. Oh, and wiring. Yeah. So we're getting it nailed down.
Oh, and this is Marlene.
Oh, yeah. Marlene.
Marlene the kitty, say meow for us to end the chat. Can you do it? No.
Let me pinch your foot.